Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. I'm Compai. I am Sosua's voice of reason. Guys, a lot of my fellow YouTube content creators are talking about the power. At the same time, a lot of my YouTube content creators and Facebook social media content creators are telling you how good things are with all the new construction going on. Let me break it down for you. But if you're coming to the Dominican Republic, the North Coast, and you're looking for a place to stay, guys, this is my business.
There's a lot of places to rent in Sosua. If you're looking for peaceful, affordable, and tranquil, look at Casa de Compai, Sosua's hidden gem. When you're ready to reserve at Casa de Compai, my contact information is in the description down below.
Guys, thank you so much for watching my advertisement. Like I said in the video, my contact information is in the description down below. A lot of people ask me, John, why do you call yourself the voice of reason? Why do you think you can say that? Well, because guys, if you look at my video content history, I got away saying things before everybody else does. And it's not because I'm smarter than anybody else. It's not because I've experienced more than anybody else. It's because I've been here longer and I've seen how things work. Called the crackdown that happened a year and a half before it happened. Told you YouTube was going to go through some problems. Don't hitch your wagon to YouTube. I told you they were cracking down on the bad behavior in town. Guys, I've been saying certain things for a long period of time. I'm going to show you what I said last March about the electric. There you go, guys. I called it in March. Power issues, why, and how to protect your home. This is nothing new, but a lot of people just take the local headline. They say, oh, this is what I think happened. This is what's going to happen. I call them ambulance chasers. They're purely reactionary. If you really know what's going on here, you should be able to tell your viewership before it happens. There you go. You're looking at it. I did this March of this year. Power issues, nothing new. If you've been spending any kind of time in the Dominican Republic, you know the power here is horrible. It's nothing new. But it's getting worse. And it's getting worse for a lot of different reasons. The main reason is we don't produce enough electricity that this island consumes. We're just running at almost 100% capacity. Let's bring this into the broader global context as well. Europe has problems right now. Why? Because they did some stupid shit. They closed down all their nuclear power plants. They got off of coal. And they think wind and solar, that alternative energy, is going to save the day. It's not happening. America, we're no better. The United States went off of coal, shut down nuclear power plants, and are wondering why electricity is skyrocketing in price. Well, we can't produce enough of it. So this isn't just the Dominican Republic problem, but the Dominican Republic has other issues that the rest of the world doesn't. So what do we have? We have older power plants that are running at near capacity, and they're being run by power companies that are quasi-private, quasi-government. They're private companies with government oversight. So they got the worst of both worlds, right? The problem is they're corrupt. And I'll be the first one to say it. They're not the most honest institutions on the island. I don't know who's worse, them or the water company. But they're both horrible to deal with. And that has a direct effect on the quality of life for everybody. And if you're coming down here to buy property and do business, you really need to watch this video because things are not going to change. It doesn't matter who says we're going to be energy independent by 2026. It's not going to happen because the infrastructure is not there to make that happen. So not only are we not producing enough electricity, we're dealing with corrupt corporations, Ada Norte, Ada Sur, Ada Este. The only place that has it better is Punta Cana because they were able to build that city from scratch. There was nothing there, so they were able to city plan. And guys, they did a good job at it. So when you hear people on social media and saying things to other content creators, well, you don't live in the real Dominican Republic, because they have it better than the rest of the island because they were able to forward plan and they had the money to do it. So if you're that person that says, I want to go to the DR and I want to take in the culture, well, guess what? Blackouts, brownouts, and power disruption is part of that culture. So if you're here on the North Coast, you got that culture that you want. So don't be mad at the people who go to Punta Cana and have it better than everybody else. They were just maybe a little wiser in their decision than the rest of the island. Don't hate them for it. What do I mean by when I say Ada Norte is not as honest as I wish they were? Because in my condo complex, I can get the same bill within 1,000 or 2,000 pesos for 3 or 4 months in a row. But at one month, I could be at 100% occupancy. The next month, I could be at 80. And the next month, I could be at 60. But my bill doesn't change. But the people using electricity does. How is that possible? I wish I had an answer for you. I got my assumptions why, but that's one of the things that's the biggest problem down here. And you're dealing with a company that really doesn't care. They say they care, but it's hard to get them to fix problems. You got to go into the office, you got to scream and yell. And God forbid, if you're a gringo, you're late a day or two, they will cut your electricity in a heartbeat. They don't want to provide you electricity all the time, but they want you to pay them on time. So that's one of the reasons this will not get better anytime soon. The other obvious answer that everybody is saying is too much construction, especially here on the North Coast. The level of construction is out of control. They don't do the proper planning here. Now, why do I get off saying that? Because I've been through the planning and zoning board here. I've been a part of that process. I've also been a part of that process back in my home state in New Jersey. I've been through planning and zoning boards there when I was doing my commercial projects in New Jersey. I can compare the two experiences, and I can come up with how it should be done and how it's done here. There's no prior planning here, and I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. When the Chinese come in and build their super tiendas, they maybe put in 5, 6 parking spaces. Well, in New Jersey, you got to have enough parking spaces for the amount of square footage of retail space. If you're building a restaurant, you got to have so much parking per seating and tables. So there's a formula to it. Here, they don't. If there is a formula, it's not enforced. So the whole infrastructure gets beat up here. They don't take in consideration, if I'm building a condo complex with 200 homes, is there going to be enough electricity to feed them homes? That's the problem. We just overbuilt. And guys, I've seen the electric be really bad here when I first started coming down here. And then every trip I would come down, I would see more and more telephone poles installed. I would see more transmission lines installed. I would see new secondary lines installed. And guys, why do I know this? Because I was a lineman for 15 years. I had to deal with power, as I was a telecommunications lineman, but we still needed to know what was above it so we didn't die. Because in New Jersey, the poles are joint use. Electric up top, telecommunications down below. So I worked hand in hand with the power company, setting poles in power. So I know what I'm looking at because I had to know what I was looking at. So I've seen them do a good job increasing the plant. But the pace of construction overwhelmed that. So now we have, and I go back to my favorite thing of the grind, is all the YouTube and social media content creators pushing positivity for profit. What are they telling you? Playa Bergantin, it's going to rechange the North Coast. We got the baseball player doing his things in Rio San Juan. It's a great place to invest. Guys, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. You know why? Playa Bergantin is not going to build its own power generation station. Not going to do it. What are they going to do? They're going to pull it out of the power generating station that's close to Puerto Plata. And guess what? It's overwhelmed now. But you're going to have real estate agents tell you buy, buy, buy. So if you're coming down here and you're looking to buy, you need to understand that there's going to be power interruptions. So you better buy in a place that has a good, reliable backup system. And there's a lot of problems in these gated communities with backup power. I know firsthand from where I live. They do the best they can, but they still have issues. As a business owner, I fight every day to keep the lights on, water in the cistern, reliable internet, and security. It's a fight every single day. And most of the people who are telling you how good it is to live down here and how easy it is to make 10% rate of return, they don't know what they're talking about because they haven't been down here long enough. Most of these people are post-pandemic. They're performers. They're not business people. They want your commission. That's why all you see is people peddling positivity. Now, I'm not saying don't come down here and buy. I'm saying this is a great place to buy. This is a great place to live, and this is a great place to do business. But you have to be realistic on what you're facing, what you have to deal with down here. And the biggest problem down here is electricity. I went over, we're not producing enough electricity. The electric companies are inadequate with integrity issues. The amount of construction has outpaced all the positivity that the power companies have done in building up the plant. Here's the other thing. We're selling electricity to Puerto Rico. Are you kidding me? We can't keep lights on for Dominicans, and we're selling it to Puerto Rico. Why in God's earth are we doing that? And here's the other thing that everybody is not talking about. The local population is getting extremely, extremely angry. They're burning tires. They're doing their riots, burning tires. They're making their feelings known, and that's how they do it. They close roads down. They throw branches in the streets. They burn tires in the streets. They shut things down. That's what they do here. That's how they tell the people in positions of leadership, you better fix it. They've been doing it for the electricity, and they've been doing it for the water for an extended period of time. Because the water company and the power companies here are in open competition to see who's the most inept. Unfortunately, it's true. I think the water company has the edge in that race. But it's not going to get better. And the fact that the Dominicans are really upset that they don't have power. The other thing is the Dominicans have been making good money in this society since post-COVID. The Dominican middle class has gotten more profitable. And one of the things that they're buying a lot of is air conditioners. They've grown accustomed to having air conditioning at night. Now they don't have power. They're not happy. So all those extra air conditioners are putting a strain on the plant. The system just can't handle it. The system is ready to crack. And this is not too many people are telling you this. I've seen the electricity go from really bad to decent. Now it's the worst I've ever seen it. I believe it's the worst I've ever seen it because I've never seen a blackout in this country, the whole country. I think maybe Punta Cana maintained some lights because I had people posting on my Facebook page, John, we got lights here in Punta Cana when we were out. So hopefully Punta Cana did better than the rest of the nation. I hope so. But I've never seen it that big. I'm sure it happened 25, 30 years ago. But when you want to run a modern tourist destination and you want to push people to buy property, to rent property, to start businesses, to come here for vacations and extended vacations, you have to understand they want creature comforts now. Just the era of hotels isn't what it used to be. especially here on the North Coast. People want home creature comforts. They want a house. They want a full apartment. They want a full kitchen. They want multiple bedrooms. They want multiple bathrooms. They want big screen TVs. They want full air conditioning that takes electricity. Here's the other thing that nobody's talking about. When the DR was cheaper, people would overlook certain inconveniences. The DR's not cheap anymore. It's not cheap. That grace is gone. And that filters down to the people who are renting. When they're paying $70 at night at Casa de Compai, they want to have backup power. So I have to provide that. And that's why this country, I think, has hit its zenith. As much as everybody is pumping it up and there's just buy here, buy there, it's never been better. The infrastructure cannot handle what your foreign real estate agents are peddling. It just can't happen. So if you're going to come down here, do your homework. I highly suggest rent where you want to buy. If it's not built, don't buy it. Let me say that again. If it's not built, don't buy it, because you're going to see a lot of stuff not get finished, just like years ago. And that's going to be all over the island. The infrastructure here is at a breaking point. Am I saying don't come down here? I'm not saying that at all. I'd rather be down here when it breaks than in North America, because it happens in the United States. Look at Texas when their grid went down in winter and everything was freezing. Look at California when their grid went down because they did not trim the trees around the transmission lines. And let me tell you something, when those transmission lines are being overworked, they get hot, and when they get hot, they get heavy. When they get heavy, they sink. The spans go lower, and then it arcs out into the trees, and then you have a ground fault, and then it just creates a cascading effect, and that's exactly what happened here in the Dominican Republic last week when the whole country was pretty much without power. So guys, it happens everywhere. That's why I'm saying, if you're still thinking of buying, do not change your mind in purchasing here. Just be aware of what's going on. To be successful here as an expat, as an extended tourist, as a business owner, you need to understand what challenges you face and how you overcome them. Go look at the video that I did in March. I'll post the link in the description down below. I talk about this stuff, guys. I'm not somebody who's chasing headlines. I'm ahead of all this stuff because I see what's happening. I have a lot of time here, a lot of time doing business down here. As a business owner, I have to be ahead of things. That's why my next big project in Casa de Compai that I hope to start in the third quarter of 2026 is a solar arrays on top of the cigar lounge. So I can sell electricity back to Ada Norte. Because you have, as a business owner, I have to be as self-sufficient and independent as I possibly can. Because you cannot rely on the institutions down here to do business. You have to have redundancy on top of redundancy on top of redundancy. I have triple phase redundancy for certain things in Casa de Compai. Not because I want to, but to be successful, that's what I have to do. And that's what most people are oblivious about, how to be successful here. So guys, I'm going to do another video soon about why I think the Dominican Republic hit its zenith. Why we're going to plateau for the next year and a half in spite of Playa Bergantin, the Rio San Juan, Michis, all these places that are being peddled for commission. Why they're going to actually set us backwards. So guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate all the likes. Please subscribe. And always remember, keep personal private and private personal. Peace out.